What's up, firewalkers? Okay, super exciting day here, or lesson that we have going on is going to be on page 21 in our UPW Unleash the Power Within books. And you guys know, sometimes I take my older one because it has so many more notes. My first UPW ever has so many notes, and this one is exciting because I think a lot of us, or the majority of us, are going to a Tony Robbins event, a UPW, for some sort of change. So this one in particular is going to be on right there, the driving force, the science of momentum. And let's just kind of review this little cycle here that he's got. And you'll see that I also put a picture below, if you're in the course right now, of the cycle of success, or the success cycle, which is pretty interesting because when we are in UPW and we go through this book, we're really just like, we're listening to Tony tell his stories. And I think a lot of the times we don't get to see the entire book. So I go through the book, I expand on it, I apply these principles to my life, and it's been a game changer. So let's take a look, right? First and foremost, driving force, the science of momentum. I think a lot of things that Tony emphasizes on all of this is that progress is really the only thing that makes a human being happy, right? Giving and growing. So growing, making progress, and then also that contribution, those, the needs of the spirit. Remember the 6 human needs. We're all driven by them. We all need them. But there are 2 that are usually more of a driving force. And I think Tony is pretty good at teaching us that the contribution and growth are the higher needs of the spirit, and that's what really makes, a fulfilled life. So as he's talking about this driving force of momentum, you go there for something to change. And what happens after a UPW event, you kind of like, right, go down, because people in your life that weren't at the event, like the momentum stops. What's really changing? I think the last UPW I was at was July, August, September, October, November. So 4 months from now, a really good question is, if you were at UPW 4 months ago, right, however many times you're watching this or listening to this, have you been achieving your goals? So here's what I'm going to start with. If we look at these 5 steps, because he's saying one of the biggest reasons why people fail to achieve their goals is because they don't even take those first steps. And those first steps of forward motion with emotion is usually going to happen when you're in state. I would say 100% of the time, but I don't have that. I'm not really sure about that, so I can't say that. But I can tell you from what Tony's saying, look at step number 1 right there. He's going to give you 5 simple steps to just get that forward momentum, that forward motion with emotion going. So first and foremost, put yourself in a peak state. If you are straight off coming off a UPW, then now's the time for you to take advantage of that peak state and get very clear on what it is that excites you and what it is that you want. So if we're looking at these steps, step 1, put yourself in a peak state. You guys, if you attended UPW, you know how to do that. Blast some music, get in touch with your buddies, get in the Facebook group, do whatever you got to do, jump up and down, prime, breathe, bounce. I don't know if he teaches rebounding at UPW. I don't think so. But he does talk about breath work, right? And we do prime, so you guys know that. So once you're either coming off of a peak state or you're putting yourself in a peak state, that's the time for you to step 2, find your passion. What is it that you love, that you hate? And there's a reason for you to find out the things that you hate. It's very polarizing for you to know what you're against, so that way you can also be like, well, if I'm against this, then I'm moving forward towards that. You always want to be moving forward towards something. If you go to Date with Destiny, he has us create our rules for life, and we have the towards values and the away values. The whole pleasure versus pain, right? We're either running away from pain or going towards pleasure. I think though, going away from pain, walking away from pain is more powerful, right? Something that you want to avoid. So step 2, finding your passion, right? What values do you are fueling the drive for that forward momentum? That's going to be our activity for today, is to go over page 22 and page 21 and fill those things out. Get yourself in state, step 1. Step 2, find your passion. What do you love? What do you hate? What are you passionate about? What do you really want? page 22 and 23. Put some music on and just flow. No need to overthink it. Just get rolling with it. These things that you find, like when it comes to step 2, finding your passion, that's what becomes your why. And when you look at those things, and I really am encouraging you to take the time to do this, and especially if you do this year after year, you get to see the things that are kind of like recurring and common themes in your life. And I think a lot of times people want immediate results, and they get very frustrated with, why is this taking so long? You guys, we are in this thing called life to the day that we die. So I think it would be very helpful to say, and he talks about this, people who achieve their goals are the ones that just never give up. That's really what it comes down to for me when I look at this. And then there are psychological factors such as mindset, which I'm going to go into briefly, but I want this to be shorter because I want you to take action on this. I want you to put yourself in a peak state and make sure that you complete 22 and 23 with some music on, get super pumped, and find all of the things that you love and what you really want, because that is where you get to go to step 3, decide, commit, and resolve. This is where you get to unleash your power. And for me, personally, when we do the decide, commit, and resolve, after we've done pages 22 and 23, finding our passion, what we love, that to me is taking immediate action, like setting goals and taking immediate action towards it. So the 2 activities that are for your benefit, for all of our benefits to do today, right, and to focus on, is to go through page 22 to 24, and let's just stop there, because once we decide, commit, and resolve, you have up to 2 weeks, right, until we do this again live, which I'm sorry, today isn't live. I had something come up. Dennis is winning an award, so I'm going to be there for that. But I'm very consistent. Whenever I say we're going to do one of these videos, we do it. So it's always more fun when we're live. But I think people they like the recording. They can do it on their own time. So you do this. Next time we go live, or next time you get into the next lesson where we start page 25, you will have time to know whether your strategy has been working or not. And that is where you get into, you get to take the action. That's step 4 for the next 2 weeks. And then step 5 is strategy, checking it. See if you need to kind of tweak or reroute, right? Kind of go about a different way. But that's what we're going to do today. So just to expand on that a little bit, right? Putting yourself in peak state, completing the activities from 22, 23 with some music on, get super pumped, find your passion. And at that point, here's what you get to do. And here's where the success cycle comes in. When you look at that success cycle, what occurs for success is, first and foremost, if I can remember it, I think the first thing that I don't have it up on my screen is the potential, your belief and your certainty about the potential of any given goal that you choose. So let's say you get really excited about, a health goal or body goal, whatever it is. If you don't believe that it's possible for you, right? So that's the first part of the cycle. If you don't believe that it's possible for you, then chances are the actions that you take, they're going to be affected by your beliefs, are not going to be very strong actions, because you're like, why would I try anyway? I really don't think it's possible, which is your actions or lack of them is going to get you results, right? It's going to get you results, and those results are going to reinforce the belief, okay? So you have the beliefs you have about something, the actions you take about them, the results that you get reinforce it. So one of the things that Tony talks about, and I also added bonus videos for you guys below to kind of just really understand what he means by getting certain about something, kind of putting that certainty into action. And then whatever results you get, that's where you hit into step 4. So step 4 is that massive action. And then step 5, hopefully you've gotten a book, a mentor, a coach, somebody else in the Facebook group that's kind of on the same path as you. He is very clear about not setting your goals with like your BFF or somebody who's struggling in the same area as you are, because let's say that you decide you want to lose, 25 pounds, and your friend over there needs to lose 25 pounds too. Neither of you are at the level when it comes to your health that you want to be at. So if one kind of drops off, because that's the action you have been taking, if one drops off, you might drop off. So what he's saying is when you get a mentor, a coach, or somebody, a workout buddy, a business partner, whatever it is, or like accountability partner, you want it to be somebody who has already experienced the level of success that you are looking to achieve. Because that's motivating. That's for you to kind of keep up, to move forward, that forward momentum with emotion. If you're doing it with somebody that wants to get there as well, your chances of success are not as high, is basically all he's saying. Okay? Step 1, put yourself in a peak state. Step 2, find your passion. That's the activities on the next page. Once you find your passion, right, you are going to consciously decide on the next 90 days, what's your goal in what area of life. And I find it very helpful that if we go to page 39 and 37 and 39 are where we can also choose our goals from. If you're going to kind of run ahead a little bit, which is totally okay. Like let's say you write down your passions and your love on page 22 and you are just like ready to roll and go straight into step 3, decide, commit, resolve on page 24. I hope you're writing this down, but the pages are all there. If you need help choosing what area you want to master or become stronger in or just better in or focus on, I don't know how I feel about that whole becoming better. I prefer the word to kind of uncover, because I feel like inside we're perfect and we're capable of all these things, right? Remember, Tony says also, this is something that's inside of you. So instead of becoming better or improving, I prefer the word to like uncover, right? Unleash, uncover, get rid of the layers of BS so that way you are tapping into who you really are on the inside, because it's inside of us. It's inside of us. So we don't need to become anything different. We need to remove the layers of BS so we can uncover the greatness, the power that is inside of us. So if there is an area from page 37 or 40, 37 or 39, they're the same things, that you want to focus on to unleash that power from within you, that's where you can set your goals for the next 90 days. And here are the guidelines for the goals. It has to be something that excites you. It has to be something that you're willing to take massive, consistent action on. That's my word for massive, is really just consistent, because I feel like just being consistent, and sometimes massive action, forgive me for saying this, but this is what I find for my life. When I think massive action, I think of things that are completely unsustainable for my life. And if I'm experiencing it, then somebody else might say like, well, I can't take massive action. So maybe it's just our definition of massive. When I think of massive action, I am thinking of things that are not sustainable for my life. So for me, and my definition of massive action is consistent, getting 1 to 2 things done every day that move me forward, that I feel great about. That is massive action for me. For somebody like Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins or Gary Vee, massive action may be something that's not sustainable feeling for somebody else's life. So define what massive action is for you, but just make sure that that massive action is moving you forward. You got to get that. That's where the momentum happens. Okay. So we pick that, we choose that area that we want to uncover our greatness in, 1 to 2 areas max, I think he says, for the next 90 days. What can we visualize, or what are we going to decide to do that is super exciting, that is, we can take massive action towards? It has to be very specific and clear as to what it is that we want to create. So if it's a certain amount of money, if it's a certain amount of weight, whatever that is, I think it's really important for us to also have, and Tony Robbins says, the why. Do we want this? Like, why is it so compelling? What is going to make us follow through for the next 90 days that we would walk through a burning building on fire to get what it is that we want? So it's got to be compelling. That's where some of the work is, in all honesty, because if it's not compelling, anybody will just give up. And he says that very clearly in one of the bonus videos, that successful people, they just don't give up. They're so obsessed and compelled by their vision of what they want, and they are so certain that the potential of it is there and that it will come true and be their reality. One day they will stop at nothing to get it. Okay, and I think it's a very honorable thing. So pick your goal, and it has to have all of those qualities. You can choose from that page 37 or 39, same areas that you would like. While you're still in state, because you already put yourself in a peak state, you're going to decide, commit, resolve to unleash your power, and you're going to come up with that action plan, okay? The action plan means you're going to come up with a strategy. So it's either coming from a book, somebody who's been there and done what you want to do, like a coach or a mentor or some type of expert, but you're following somebody that has had the success that you're looking to achieve, that you're looking to uncover from yourself. And then he also says that if you find yourself making excuses, then you just have to get more playful about it. Like if there's inner conflict, and he uses the example of, if you know you want to work out, but you don't have time, it's going to take, time away from your kids, then that's an inner conflict. How can you get more playful? How can you combine spending time with your kids and also working out? A lot of us think, I don't have maybe a lot of us want to grow businesses. I don't have the time to do that, or I don't have the funds, the knowledge, or the work ethic. Like a lot of times there are things that I don't want to do to grow my business where it's just like, that looks like really hard work. So it's like, how do you make it more fun? And this is actually a strategy that I utilize for the things that I do in my business, right? When it comes to nutrition, movement, and mindset, and I am to be producing content for my clients and my tribe and my loves, just make it more fun. And the reason we're actually doing this is because I wanted to follow through for the rest of the year going through the UPW book. I want to learn. I wanted to grow. So for me, being held accountable by like rallying with all of you guys, all of us firewalkers, that's how I'm moving forward and I'm growing. I'm being held accountable. In this particular area, not by finding an expert, but by finding people that I don't want to let down. That works really well for me. That's a great leverage point for me, is if I tell somebody I'm going to be somewhere and every other week we're going to do these video sessions, even if I can't make it, we have recordings, right? Where maybe nobody's here, but I promised I would deliver, so I must do it. I would never, for the amount of people that have signed up to watch these, I could never not show up. That's just not me. So that was my leverage for that, for moving forward and growing in this area of my life and really mastering the psychology and the principles in UPW. That's what I'm working on. And it's been 4 months now and it's going really well. I love it. I'm growing. It feels amazing. So find anything that's holding you back in any of those areas. Like for me, it was like, I want to, I have an amazing priming partner, actually. We also hold each other accountable daily to priming. Do we miss days? Of course we miss days. But she's pretty good. Like we're pretty committed. Even if we miss a few days, like we're on. We're there. We're doing it. So if there was anything that was stopping me before from priming, I don't have time. How can you not have time for priming? That's a whole different story there. But I'm encouraging you guys to watch the bonus videos below, because he does talk a little bit more about the success cycle and creating that mindset and the belief and the certainty and the potential on what it is that will take to get you to act appropriately, accordingly, to get the results that you want. And if you have to tweak or reroute, redirect, because you got the expert, the knowledge, the coach, then you're getting the results, and that's reinforcing your belief, and you're just doing it more. And it's this success cycle. It's awesome. Really, really great. So yeah, watch that a little bit about mindset, because your beliefs about what you can achieve are going to affect everything. Everything. He or she who is more certain wins. So you got to find certainty there. And then the last thing I'm going to say, I was listening to a little exclusive interview that I was given with Hal Elrod. He's the dude who did Miracle Morning, which I didn't read the book because I was like, meh, I have my morning ritual. Who needs it? And I listened to his interview, and in his interview, he was talking about how people, he wants you in the morning to do, just Google it, Miracle Morning Routine. And the acronym is SAVERS, SAVERS, and it stands for silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, scribing. Affirmations, visualizations, there's just 6 different things just to do in the morning. It can be anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour. The silence, for me, is meditation, prayer. I breathe. The affirmations and the visualizations, get this. So when Tony Robbins talks about mindset, and he talks about you visualizing your goals, I have 2 things to say about that. And if you're still here and you're still watching, this is major bonus material because I'm finding it's working. When we visualize our goals, sometimes they become so real that they make us happy enough that we just become complacent and we actually don't achieve those goals. So for an example, in my mind, right? I want a Porsche. I'm like, God, I can feel myself in that Porsche. That Porsche is amazing. I love that Porsche. I'm driving that Porsche. You're experiencing it so real that you actually don't do anything to get that Porsche. So what Hal Elrod and I believe Tony Robbins is also saying is that you must visualize not just your goals and where you want to go, create that compelling future, but also visualize and affirm yourself taking the actions, forward movement, first steps, momentum, progress, people, the action towards getting those things that you want. So you can visualize yourself happily taking the actions to whether it's exercising or building your business or improving your relationships, right? Visualize yourself taking that action and getting to that, I don't want to say end goal, but that ultimate vision that you're creating for your life, that you're consciously creating for your life. And affirm that you are the person that takes that action. I am an individual that does X, Y, Z. So we are visualizing and affirming, right? Not the actions that we're going to take, not just having it, but being it and doing it. What do you want to have, be, and do? Bonus stuff for you right there. Boom. Tony Robbins is saying these things, but that's something that I feel very passionate about in my own words, kind of, but it's the truth. Like Tony's saying it, look at the success cycle, guys. Action is all it takes. So now is a really great time for you to get pumped up, jump up and down, put yourself in a peak state, blast the music, and go through 22, 23, 24. Decide on that goal, post it in the group, do a video of yourself, a picture, show us what you're doing, what you're going to do, what you're going to achieve, and just know that when you check in another week or so, because with that expert, whether it be a book, a coach, a mentor, whatever it is, somebody who's achieved that, somebody who can give you the strategy, the path, that's where you get to either confirm that the results are working and further the belief in the success cycle, or reroute and do it again. But you will get what you want if you follow those actions. Follow these steps. Like, this stuff is gold. It's better than gold. Whatever's better than gold, whatever's more valuable to you than gold, that's what that stuff is. All right, I got a jet skis. I would love to hear about all of the momentum that you're making, progress that you're making, the giving, the contribution, the goals, the love, all of it posted in the Facebook group, because you made a decision to be at UPW. Let that momentum continue. Make stuff happen. Love you guys a ton. Can't wait to hear everything you're doing. I'll see y'all on the flip side. Bye.